I'm so grateful that you guys came in. I love this room. Have a great week. I was worried because I were in the last room at the end of the hall. I was like, we couldn't find where we need to be. But we did, and I'm grateful. So yeah, I'm Anu, the founder of PPC Live. It's been going on for about 4 years now, since like, yeah, is that 2022? Sorry.
Sure, sounds good.
Yeah, because I've been a paid side person since about 2008, but built a really great community. There's loads of fun folks in here and like fun folks in the industry, especially back then we were doing a lot of stuff on chatting on Twitter, but then became a bit of a dumpify, and then we went to especially during like COVID times, really connected online with loads of people who just wanted to learn and share. There was no hoarding information and being scared that someone else is going to steal your strategy. We were just so open about that. Then we came out of lockdown, and I was going to several events, all SEO events, and I was like, sorry, what? You're the PPC folks. Why are we the PPC folks in a little small room at the back of the thing? And when we had an SEO event, I was talking to my friends, and I was like, where's the PPC events? They're like, I'm in your PPC. Where's the PPC events? And I was like, okay, let's think of something. And yeah, PPC Live was born, and people have been coming ever since. We've had fantastic speakers. We've actually had one of our fantastic speakers who have come to PPC Live in the UK, Niels Richmond. Sorry for embarrassing you, but I had to. And yeah, PPC Live has just grown into something that it's when you have that you're just still awake at 10, 11 p.m. at night, and your brain is like, we should try this and we should try that. And so I've gone, we should try a blog, and we should also, try a community, and then we should also try a podcast, and we should also try so many things. So there's all that kind of things going on. There's the Slack community, there's a newsletter, there's a blog, there's a fantastic podcast. Again, several people on this room. Everybody on our panel has been on the podcast.
I was your first one of the year. We'll do this tomorrow. And I was like, for you, definitely. I will be there.
Everybody on the panel and several people in our audience too have been on it. I'm so grateful for that. And these are like, I get loads of DMs from random CEOs going like, I'll be perfect for your podcast to talk about because I'm a $3 million business and I've done amazing things. And to give you the premise, the podcast is about efforts, fuck-ups that led to triumphs. That's the title.
I think your title to me had F-bombs all in it. And I was
pretty
like,
much.
yes.
I had to label that one.
They're like, tomorrow morning. And I was like, yes.
Yeah. So yeah, it's been a labor of love, labor being the primary word there. But I love it when we come together in these kind of environments and just share. So the usual PPC Live setup is we've got 3 or 4 fantastic speakers who do presentations, and then we have what I like to call a PPC Live team meeting. It's not just a panel where we just talk to the panelists. There'll be panelists that help, kind of help focus the conversation, but they're also experts in our audience that we all want to hear from. I'd love to hear from. I love that some people that I've walked in, I've come to speak to, I've gone, what's your issue? And I was like, no, I don't have an issue, I just want to help. And I'm like, that is fantastic. So if you have that mindset and you're thinking that you don't have an issue, you just want to help, welcome, thank you for being in here. That's absolutely amazing. But without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to our fantastic panelists who are going to help us focus our conversation. We have the fantastic Susan Yen, who's the Customer Success Manager. We have my annoying colleague sometimes, my very lovely colleague of a long-standing friend in the industry, Greg Finn, who's the founder of We've got a digital marketing veteran, you said that, you put that on your LinkedIn. Aaron Levy of Optimizer, please give him a warm applause. And very hopefully most of you listened to fantastic talk by Amanda Farley, who has some amazing ideas about automation and agentic, and she's of Clear. Well, you've moved on from Clear right now.
I did just take leave. I was 17 years agency side, I just took leave.
Amazing.
And I do not miss all of the Slack messages and emails. I'm sorry. Yeah, and I don't miss that part at all. Like, my brain is like, what is happening right now? Like, I've got an email in 12 hours, something's broken somewhere.
So yeah, Amanda, please give it. So there were a few really eager, I loved it, early birds that came in. So I got to them first and asked them some of the issues that they're having. And since then, the room is filled up. There'll be a lot more stuff to talk about. And if there is, please do speak up. Something that has been brought up recently by a couple of people is PMax issues, small businesses, and whether PMax is something that can work for small businesses, and especially when there's invalid traffic that's coming through. So, is it possible to get best going, Amanda?
I just have a question. Has anybody of any size not had issues with invalid PMax issues?
Correct. Yes, that's a good question.
I just feel like the affirmation is needed. I feel like that's just a global issue.
Yeah.
All sizes. Yeah, I think that's a huge problem. I mean, a few days ago, I had a client who was like, we're gonna get a bunch of China traffic. I don't even know what's happening. I'm like, oh God, is anyone checked ad side? Like, I just instantly, I was like, I don't even know which channel is actually problematic for it. But,
Problematic.
I think it's, which is ironic because dating myself, my gray hairs and my bald spot, but I think thinking back to like smart campaigns or back in the day of enhanced campaigns, those were always designed to be like a one-stop shop for SMBs, but then everything we hear is that you need as much volume as possible to make them work. And I'm like, you're talking to a guy who's migrating from Post-it notes to maybe like a computer that he doesn't know how to turn on.
did a 3-mile radius of the house.
Yeah, so it's the sort of thing where like I think it's designed with the best intent, but the two, like data strength, data quality, data volume are fighting with like, this is really easy.
Yeah. Because the volume even to take to like get that to work properly is at such a level, so there's like that constant battle between like segmentation, control, and like volume requirements. So,
Yeah, I mean, I have this sneaky suspicion that the design of the PRD, the product requirement stock, was like, we want this to be one touch, as low lift as possible, which conversations with people at Google, that's why we didn't get any data on PMax for a long time. It was like a conscious choice because they think it would be overcomplicated.
And
Well,
also
we're
have
nerds.
Yeah.
Like, of course we want to complicate it, but so on the SMB side, like, without volume, without enough technical knowledge to go in and know what buttons to hit, what buttons not to hit, who to listen to and not to listen to. Keep it simple, man. Like, stay small.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, I think we use PMax in pretty much every account. I think it could be great for SMBs. I think it really depends on like what your conversion actions are. And if you
That's a good
have
point.
lightweight conversions, it is going to send you crap. You know, if you have, say, a purchase and you know that you get money from that, it would be great. So we have a client where we started with PMax and didn't do great. We didn't have the most friction on that conversion. We moved to a soft pull credit check, and it got really good. And then we moved to a hard pull, so like post credit score approved. And the only way to get success is you have to go through, you have to put all your information in, you have to be credit approved, and you have to be like getting that pixel served to you. And in that case, like, as long as the CPA is good, I don't really care if there's invalid traffic. I know I shouldn't say that, but if the CPA is what is under what I want, I'm good with it. So I think like that's one like major aspect for it, and obviously you can get like cheaper clicks, but a lot of bad clicks too. But
Yeah.
And you can apply for credits back on the credit traffic, that's real.
Yeah.
It's just, they don't think it's hard.
Yes.
Yes, people are like, oh, we can give you money back? Yes, all this traffic came in at 3 AM, that was a glitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Susan, yeah.
I agree. I think that there are pros and the ability for it to be really great. I think the problem is when PMax first came out is it kind of was a combination between DSA and the Smart campaign mushed together. And especially with small businesses is that it's a quick stop to what they think is success. And they don't realize that the amount of effort and time you actually have to put into, do you have your conversion tracking set up? And 90% of the time, that's not even true. They think the conversions that they have set up is correct, when in fact it really isn't. And there isn't like that feedback loop of, hey, is this correct? Because I mean, Performance Max is a conversion goal-based campaign, first and foremost. So if your tracking is all sorts of messed up and you're questioning it, then it's not a good campaign. And you're gonna hear from everyone, oh, it's really great, I got really great traffic. And I know someone said earlier today, it's just clicks. Traffic is really great, we can get you that. But if your conversion tracking isn't great either, then that's not really gonna be helpful. So I think it can work, because we run PMax for our dealers. So a lot of our clients are our dealerships, and it works great for them because we know and they have that feedback loop. We have the, hey, did that call become a potential good lead? Are we valuing conversion, clicks, forms, whatever, or calls, forms? So instead of just doing max for conversions, we do conversion value. And just because you are it's lead forms where we don't want to tell Google, hey, all these primary conversions are great. You need to really prioritize and tell Google, this one is the one that we value the most. We need to put a metric in it, and I think that'll work. For right now, we're just going, hey, these are good conversions, and Google's going, well, the calls are great, so it's gonna just send a bunch of money towards that. You're gonna waste a ton of your stuff. So I think it's gonna work. I think it has potential, but for right now, I think we're just not utilizing it the way that we should.
Can I go off on something quick?
Please.
So I think like one thing with PMax is it was launched as this like all one size fits all thing. And I think it's like fundamentally flawed in that standpoint when you're looking for something like a target CPA, because search and shopping, if you have e-com, is going to be the driver of the A in CPA. And you just see everything else not really spend or not really contribute. And I think something that's, we talked about on It's New Today this morning, Anu and I do a weekly show Monday through Thursday on Rusty Brick's channel. But I think like some of these other channels just can't keep up, right? Like search is search and shopping. And it was like noticeable the lack of PMax in GML this year, where like 2 years ago it was Power Pair, last year it was Power Pack, and then it was Power Nothing. Yeah, it's like, no. And then you see like AI Max, and you have Demand Gen, and Demand Gen now is display, it has everything, and it's like, okay, you can make your own PMax in a way, right? Like, so it's like you can get the good parts of search, you can make it do its search thing, and then you've got everything else to kind of fill in, and almost fill in more appropriately than going at the same CPAs as you would with search.
Correct. Karen, I feel like you have something to add.
I think it's a large branding problem, and I think it's a large marketing problem caused by Google. So I taught, despite being a career paid search guy, I've been a PPC guy for my entire post-college career and some of my college career. But I actually taught display and media planning for a long time at a university level. So to me, the biggest thing that I think Google has done wrong with these is that they have made search and display and YouTube and Gmail equal, which they are not. We would get feedback from clients a lot who turn on PMax or turn on video or turn on display, like, well, the CPA's higher than search. I'm like, no shit.
Yeah.
You already got the good stuff. There's no more good stuff to get. We're going to get other things to make more good stuff. So that, it's maybe like I shouldn't place blame on Google. It's more of a factor of Google as a whole. Search as a whole. Search is always going to catch what falls off the tree, but you have to grow things on the tree. And so I think that's the challenge of people like, well, it's like going to a orchard and picking an apple, like, that one's not ripe yet, it's bad. You have to wait a little bit, it's going to come out later. And I think that's the challenge that Google had with a lot of these formats, especially Demand Gen, which they're finally changing their tune on a little bit. So like, this is Performance Max, it's gonna perform to the max. Just like search, like, no, it's not. This is extras to catch more stuff. And Demand Gen is there to generate demand, not to capture it. It's there to create it. So I think the challenge that Google caused to themselves, and then Microsoft to a lesser extent too, but they're putting paid search metrics against visual medium that are designed to move people along. So of course it's never going to work because you're trying to grade, I don't know, a dolphin on how good is it hockey. Like it's not what it's meant for. I don't know where that metaphor came from.
That is
It
so
does not make any sense. I don't know, but it works.
That's perfect. Yes, let's go to the audience, please.
So, on your point, you know, the conversion reporting from a value standpoint, it seems like that's what really allows PMax to work the best. If you're not properly and accurately reporting the best value for the best conversions, Google's like, we don't know what to optimize for, so we're just gonna optimize for everything that you report as a conversion. I'm curious as to how you all tell your clients, like, this is how your conversion should be set up, and this is how your value reporting should be set up. Because reporting a conversion is different than like reporting a conversion with like a value assigned to it. So, y'all live in this a lot more than, you know, people,
Yeah.
business owners do. How do you see it?
Yeah, so that was directed to me. I mean, I think like for the most part, people pretty much know like whatever like step in the life cycle stage they're at. Like, so the MQL is roughly this. I don't do a ton of like, at least on the lead gen and like sales cycle side of things, like value-based bidding. I don't think works that well. It's a different conversation. Just there's lots of things in that. But like if you know that something that's accepted by sales is worth this amount, it's like how many sales accepted leads did we get? Here's what the cost is per sales accepted lead. The problem is if you don't have that friction, it's gonna just get you form fills. So, you know, that's where you need like CRM integration. If you don't have CRM integration, somebody is a little more basic. I've heard, you know, on your landing page have the auto-defined box that's something that's like ridiculous out there. Like if let's say I sell PPC and display services or something like that, and the tab that's selected is SEO, something I don't offer, and that's what the form comes through as, that's gonna be unqualified. So there's ways you can like make it more qualified, but just having qualification, having friction stops all that, the first question, all that spam that comes through, because there is so much inventory and so much shit out there that you need to make sure you're getting real people.
So I guess I feel like I've had some success with PMax with small budgets for people, but I think it depends on what the conversion. To everyone's point, like I feel like the PMax really comes down to like how well the conversion is. But I would encourage people. The small budget isn't the problem. If your CPA is not is also fairly low, then you're fine. If your CPA is crazy high and you have a small budget, you're going to have a problem. But if your CPA is, you know, a couple bucks and then you don't need a lot of money in there to get the conversions that Google needs to operate. Because I think that a lot of what Google started to ask for recently on a couple of the campaigns, I'm curious how you guys disagree, but a lot of the minimums at this point are so crazy. I mean, what they're recommending as the minimum is 10x your CPA per day, which is way more than a lot of small businesses need, but also is way more than a lot of people can or should be reasonably spending, especially out of the gate. So I feel like, there's this line between what is being said and what you should actually do, and that's a place where I think it's on one of the wider proportions. The answer is not spend more money. The answer is send the right signals, have the right data in there, and then does the math make sense or not?
No, you raise a really great point, and I think all of us, not sure everyone certainly need, misrepresented data is spent. Data is not spent, data is data.
Right.
And so we did a ton of data studies on our own stuff and found exactly the same, that more conversion volume is better. Doesn't really matter what those conversions are, you can figure it out. It just makes sense, as Greg said, that it aligns with your backend. But as long as there's enough volume for the machine to not make really wild guesses and jump back and forth, that's good. You just have to create that data to be whatever it should be.
I mean, when does Google not want money? So you just have to be, and I take it with me. It's kind of getting those the Google calls where you know what the conversation is going to be. And it's hey, here's this new thing, add more budget. So I definitely, think with the minimums, I don't really think that, I think that that's a struggle with small businesses, is they can either pay certain things to work, this thing won't work because we don't have the budget. I'm like, you have a marketing budget. You can work with a good portion of whatever that budget looks like, because there's just so many different types of campaigns and strategies now that I don't really think that we should be putting a cap on someone's ability to show up and compete. And also there's certain areas that if your competitors are gigantic people, that's not where you should be. And you need to recognize that they have the money to be able to just go crazy and do whatever the hell they want, and they probably don't care. So you gotta pick your battles with where I need to be and where I stand and where I can compete. And I mean, it's paid search, it's changing so much that there's no reason why any business shouldn't, most businesses shouldn't be able to compete and play in that field with just showing up.
Does anybody else have any PMax for small business, solutions that they found and things that they worked that they'd like to share? Please do.
Did you see that value-based business does not work for PMax or for any company?
No, I said I don't like it for complicated sales process.
Great.
Yeah. My answer to
Yeah.
parents of that.
Yeah, I just feel opposition there.
Well, I totally get what you're saying, especially for really long sales cycles, that if you wait 9 months to say that okay, this campaign resulted in a beautiful $1 million value, that's too late and Google won't act on it. So the challenge that what we've tackled is frankly exactly what she said, so I'm just saying it again, but we would have proxy values for steps in the funnel. So you knew what XYZ type of lead usually leads to XYZ type of customer, and you just monitor the fall off ratios. But if you're at the hardest client that I ever worked with is sold petrochemical facilities, which there's 14 of them. So our target market was 14 people. And so if we tried to do BBB on that with a literally 10-year sales cycle, nothing would happen. But we knew if they get to this stage, and then this likely to get to this stage, and then this likely to get to this stage, and this likely to get to this stage. So it can coach the algorithm in the middle of it.
So they've not brought up with audience signals on the front end, which I think is a pretty critical component to the data loop on PMax success, regardless of size of business.
around.
There are so many times I've seen bad data, honestly, going into PMax data. Yeah. And they're like, oh, the sales team or whoever gave me this, and I'm like, where did this come from?
I'm gonna turn it
Yeah,
around.
and to answer that specific question, I think to me, if you have a lot of conversions, with a lot of conversion, you should be going towards conversion value. But when we're talking about smaller businesses, the minute, to me, if a lead is sales excited, this is our ideal client profile, our ideal customer profile, we like this looks like it's the right fit. At that point, to me, it should be your hands are clean. They accept this lead, this is it, you still want to track it down, but some of that stuff muddies it a little bit. I don't know how good your sales team is. You accepted this lead, you said this is what we want, and if you're just going towards that specific conversion, it's that, in a way, I think if you have low conversion volume, it's bad, because there's a binary yes or no. It's yes, this is accepted by sales, cool, sales go do your job, cool, hand off, great. We also have people that have $1 million in quotes, and in that case, it's value-based bidding. But I think for a lot of people with lower volume, it's yes, this is, sales likes it, cool, let me go get more of those. And I know roughly what the cost is gonna be, and I can track it down the road, but I just want those leads to the sales team wants.
It's also just having an honest conversation with the client about, and it sounds like more work, which anytime they ask your clients for anything, it's we're gonna have fun with this. Where you have to, I've always felt I need to talk to whoever's a marketing manager, whoever it is I'm communicating with, they're going back to their team. And the amount of times I've gone, hey, when your sales team gets on a call with someone, do you guys know exactly where that's coming from? What's that conversation like? Because, and then are you guys marketing what is a qualified lead and what isn't? And a good portion of the time, they're we actually don't talk to our sales team. And we don't know how, and I'm oh, that's use this information, and we can't set certain values, or we can't do certain strategies, because if you don't know what that conversation looks like, and you don't know whether or not, you know, the 10 calls, I'm seeing conversions, it looks great. But if you guys can't tell me the numbers, like month over month, like out of the 200, how many of those were qualified leads? If you can't give me that answer, we can't run this strategy. That's just the reality of it. So you guys either gotta go back and internally do some work in order to make this work, or it's just not gonna, and that's just where I think paid search is going, is if you don't have that set up, we're gonna struggle. And it's just an honest conversation of like, this is where things are going, and this is the reality. You need to do some work, and I'll do my job well if you give me something I need.
Have you ever had the thing where for lead gen at the end of the month looks really, really good? And that is solely because all the salespeople want to change their lead
Yes.
statuses to get commission.
Yeah, 100%.
It still works.
I'm like, oh, what's our
Yeah.
final adjustment?
Yeah.
Annual adjustments by the sales team.
Oh my God, the end of the month thing.
Sorry, guys,
I
good
want
question.
to follow up on your petroleum example, because I'm not 14 of them, but I'm in the same niche, similar niche. So when you said this lead to this to the, did you group them together as conversions with different conversion value, or you separate them by conversions and set campaigns for that specific goal?
I honestly, it was many years ago. So what we did is we just created really soft conversion metrics that look towards people. So like page view depth would be as kind of as minimal as we go, because that was the best guidance we could get for bidding. But then once we went further down, we would usually pass things back when it was an actual conversion or got to SQL. I mean, again, in this case, it was taking 2 years. But we would feed that back and kind of keep track of it, but we would primarily use like the really light conversions for bidding and just monitor what the transition was. So if we're getting, of course, like, no, none of us want to optimize on lead forms alone. But if you're getting lead forms and you get more of them and the ratio stays the same, then like those are probably fine. So we would do those really lightweight conversions and just monitor things down funnel.
Yeah, we were doing responders was one of the things that was like just recent, like on that. So it is tough, you got a longer sales cycle, you just know it's a longer sales cycle. So there is that level of like, there's a difference between reporting conversions in channel that we're using for machine learning and then performance for our leaders. Like I think it's okay for us to talk about that, like those are different things and things we should track and talk about. Like, no, if we need to be able to train the machine on the steps before so that it does the right things, that's different than conversion and like sales qualified lead and what your leadership thinks. So I just feel like those are two different reporting things that get mismatched all the time. And so yeah, it's like what part of the funnel, like can we actually track that's the closest to knowing it's the most qualified person possible, and then just like work your way from there. Because obviously perfect world is like e-com, right? It's a checkout, we got AOV, long-term, that's great. But I'm with you, I lived in the most complex marketing environment on the planet, and you're like, how do I prove that? You know, so you have to come up with these like very complex strategic thinking of like what a conversion action even is. But as long as that's guiding those right goalposts, like you're in pretty good shape. But those are two different conversations between reporting to leaders and what you put into Google Ads as a conversion action. It's important.
Amazing. So, oh, yeah, go on, go.
Is there a downside to still putting in that, so you have like your software and then you have like your like true like SQLs. Is there a downside to having both set as primary and bidding towards both? But obviously still you're reporting to leadership SQLs, but instead of just bidding to the soft ones, and might as well throw this information in too and say, if you bid more towards that.
The only flaw I can see is that if you risk double counting, so like if conversion happens and you're counting this person as soft and then they convert and you're counting them as a converted customer, then you'll like not double their value, but I don't know, whatever percentage higher of your value. But if you like update the person, then that should be fine.
So like platform reporting aside, like, you know, hey, I'm only gonna report out of Salesforce of like actuals. So it can be, you know, one person could have 7 different levels of a conversion depending on the softness, however you do it. Can you bid towards all of those?
That's why I hate memory-based bidding. I think it's dumb, where you're like, all right, this is $10 for page depth or whatever, like, then everything adds up, and I think like, I just find Google works best when you're going for one thing. If you like make that the conversion, you're like, I want that at that price. I will say there is also at GML, they talked about qualified feature conversions, which could be interesting. You know, it's probably gonna suck when it rolls out, but it might be good. It just seems like a lot of math at that point, which is why I just don't love it. And then it's also Google just always, every time you give it a shot, goes towards the lowest common denominator of conversion. And just get like, oh, this would be great. I'll get these $1 conversions, and I'll get these $1,000. And you just have $1,001 conversions and no like $1,000 conversions.
Yeah.
Was there a question about that? Sorry, Niels, just, we just need one person before, yeah?
Where in you guys' mind does Google fit in, like especially demand gen and performance max, on those long sales cycle lead gen type marketing initiatives? I feel like as an agency, we struggle to figure out where Google fits in when there's a niche audience that has like a 9-month sales cycle and 20 touch points. I'm just curious if you guys have any insights into how you handle things like that.
Put it this way, demand gen is TV or meta in a media mix. So wherever you would have those things, I mean, it's maybe a gross oversimplification, but think about where connected TV sits. I say connected because it has some sort of an audience layer. And that's where demand gen is on paper supposed to sit. So the metrics that they use for TV are probably pretty comparable. Now they have, what are they, engaged view conversions now, but you can't score them at all, which is a little annoying. But so, I mean, gross oversimplification, but in terms of a media mix, in terms of scoring, like I would sit it like not all the way up at the tippy top, but like kind of upper in the messy middle. And so for media planning, I mean, like those same sorts of metrics, those engagement metrics, those progress metrics, those are the sorts of things, and of course, view-based tracking, which.
How much do you all trust that stuff though? I'm just curious.
I'm curious that this is what's fun as being a display teacher while working with PPC people.
But also being a PPC person yourself.
View-through conversions are always wrong, you just don't know by how much.
It's a fat guess.
You can, no, I mean, there's science behind it. You can do all sorts of holdout tests and things like that to figure out what proportion then you can count. But like, if you drive by a billboard for McDonald's and you go and get McDonald's, that had some influence on you. How much? That's the fun part to figure out.
Mills?
Yeah, I think so. I always like to take an opportunity to bash on PMax.
We should pull the seat up here.
I think SMBs are the ideal target for Google to use PMax to increase wasted ad spend. The reason is most of the SMBs, they just don't spend enough to hire people that really understand what is going on. So all the things that have just been discussed, these great ideas, these great tactics, these SMBs just don't have the knowledge and they don't have the people to do that. Thus, Google is allowed to introduce a lot of ways to spend.
Yeah.
That being said, I think there is a tactic, there is a second disadvantage for SMBs to use PMax because PMax requires conversion data, and a lot of these SMBs simply do not have, let's say, 60 purchases per month. Let's say. So I do have a very concrete tactic that if you do want to use PMax, will help you kickstart that campaign time. You can also use it in other campaign time if you have less than 60 conversions a month. But what I like to do is create different conversion actions for sales, prospects, SQLs, and MQLs. The total volume of these conversion actions is, of course, much higher than the purchases. I group them together in a custom goal, and then I let the PMax algorithm at the initial start of the campaign optimize towards that custom goal. And then once I get 60 sales, I remove the MQLs from that custom goal. I use maximize value bidding for that, and then I remove the value of the MQLs from that custom goal, and gradually remove more of these conversion actions. So that way you can kickstart it, so you give it enough signal to go after traffic that is, well, not completely a waste of spend, less waste of spend, and then you can, sort of like kickstart the smart algorithm to go after traffic.
Thanks, Josh. Did you have something to add? Yeah?
Yeah. So do you see correlation between us providing Google with more and more data, telling Google that, hey, this is how much we value a conversion, this is the conversion value and so forth, and rising click prices because Google can now say that, hey, you guys actually can afford to pay some more?
I mean, I don't think it's an. Well, maybe I do. But then, like, I don't think it's nefarious by Google. They truly want, like, the more data you give them, the more stuff works. But Google has historically always been the closest thing to, like, a perfect market. Like, demand and supply are literally, like, perfectly policed. So you could argue both ways that, like, yes, it's a way for Google to squeeze a little bit more juice out of that orange. But also the fact that we're all seeing such success, now we're just kind of all like one-upping each other and fighting a little bit higher, a little bit higher, a little bit higher. Speaking of GML though, not that anyone asked, but I think it's an interesting segue. This is a bad question to ask a group, so it won't work that way, but.
Can I get your soapbox?
No, so what did you hear at GML? You heard updates to existing products, a little bit of search, and then everything else that's visual. And where I go with that is that I think that Google has realized there's not a lot more blood to squeeze from the stone than is search. They already have the entire world. They're already there every day. As you just mentioned, they're kind of reaching a break point in terms of CPCs and return. CPCs can't get much higher unless conversion rate gets higher, which is what they're trying to help to solve for AI. So I don't anticipate that Google's search is going to get that much more expensive over the years. I think it's going to change a lot, which I'm sure we're going to talk about in a second. I was struck by the amount of movement in towards visual ad formats that Google was going after, because Meta just jumped them. So
I was gonna say, but with social though, that's kind of already happening. I mean, you could have no words at all, and like that is the ad with 0 words on just the image itself. So it doesn't surprise me. Like, but I would say on like the value side, like I don't know from where they're at, like it doesn't have to be real dollars that are really in there to weigh what you want to happen.
And I'd go against Aaron, and I'd say it is nefarious depending on how you define nefarious.
That's a good point. Very
Because
fair.
I think it's like you're putting in, here's what I'm going to pay. With all the DOJ stuff, you saw all the knobs and tubes and ways that you're trying to shake the cushions out of every last cent. And when you have smart bidding, it's like you could say, all right, our CPCs, we're gonna hit these things, they're gonna go down. And that doesn't happen, they go up, right? And I also think CPCs are gonna continue to go up. Because when you look at all the AI search, which is the future, there's less placements, there's less advertisers, it's going to cost more, but they're also doing right by their shareholders. So like, I don't know if that's nefarious, but they are 100% trying to get more money out of us. I don't know if that answered the question, but I do think like that's the case, and it's capitalism, you know, like that's what it is.
Anyway, I'm gonna segue to like another topic, and it's still talking about very like SMBs, right, but more like the ones where it's like very niche compliance issues. And spoke to a couple of people in here, and it was like at the opposite side of the room. You're financial, there's a financial guy there, amazing, and you know, yeah, they're not really into the whole AI marketing using AI kind of campaign types kind of thing. Are they really going to be left behind? And how do you convince them to give, be able to provide their data in a way that, Google wouldn't use it for nefarious reasons?
Well, to convince our clients to provide the data. That's the issue. We want to, but it's on the client side.
I mean, Google might be dumb, but they're not idiots. Like, they're gonna evolve. Like, PMax, I was described as like an underbaked pig cake that's gonna be delicious later, but it's not yet. And PMax is the same way. It's not like Google's gonna go like, well, banks and lawyers and financial service people, like, we don't want your money. No thanks.
Yeah.
They're gonna come up with it. I mean, we had a customer who was testing disclaimers on Microsoft that they were pretty happy with. And if there's anything that I got from GML, was that Google's putting more levers in there and more controls, because they recognize like they kind of misfired out of the gate. Conversations with them was a deliberate choice, which I don't want to punch those people, but I don't know if they work there anymore. But a lot more of those controls, leverage data are coming out because they understand not only from a legal perspective, but pharma, you could kill somebody, finance, you could ruin somebody, and certainly all sorts of opportunities for fraud. And some of the conversations I've been able to have back and forth with Google, like they think about all this stuff, but they're also trying to make a product for the world.
Yeah.
And so like the number of different rules and regulations that they have to fight through are really, really complex. So the only thing that I could say that's advice to all of the regulated industry people is give Google direct and actionable feedback. They listen, they don't listen to, we can't use this.
Right. Yeah.
They listen to, we can't use this because of XYZ reasons. If you made it do ABC, it would be better.
Right.
They
But
don't-
do you think the levers and controls are gonna be contradictory to the automation that is AIMax?
I think they're gonna give a responsible amount of controls. I don't think they're gonna give us everything we want. And I'm talking a lot, so you guys please chime in. But what they don't want, which is maybe a tired metaphor, who knows, but they don't want you to buy a Roomba and get on your hands and knees and push it around. They want to give you guardrails that you can build, but again, private, closed-door conversations I have with people, the lack of data was to prevent us pushing it around like a Roomba. They don't want us to reinvent what we used to have. They want you to lean in the new tool. Now sometimes they release the tool without the features that we want. But it only gets better with feedback, and screaming into the void about how much you hate it is not gonna help. I mean, it will help me personally because it's fun, but it won't help the product, it won't make it better, and the product won't go away. So the more actionable, not coming to you directly, but around to everybody. The more actionable feedback of we can't use this because is amazing. I hate it, it's stupid, you're stealing my money. Not gonna do anything. Right or wrong.
Greg, you have some more?
Was the concern ad creation, or was it, what was the concern?
It's just targeting, ad creation, we can't let Google automatically create our creative, copyright.
It's the same thing. It's like you just never really use text customization. But the cool thing is you can still do everything.
Yeah.
Just without the text customization side of things, and it's still like, can everything be approved? Can you get it approved in all these variations? And it's like,
Oh, no doubt, we can launch a campaign. I mean, it's just being able to use AIMax in all its glory.
you're just never gonna be able to do that.
Right.
It's financial. It's like,
Right,
it's
yeah.
the same thing. You can't do it.
Very early.
Yeah, if you toggle, like, because the text is certain things you can't put an ad, so you don't have to turn that off so that it doesn't create the ads that, but you can still like kind of,
Right.
Yeah,
Well,
the brief is gonna get.
The brief
maybe,
but also like probably not for a couple years.
it's not ready for, I don't think it's ready for that.
Right.
I think at some point it might be ready, but it's just, cause you can, if you left like the URL expansion, then you run into the issues of, now you're setting up a bunch of URL exclusions, where it's a lot more work, but I think for that, with the text and the ad copy, you turn that off so that you can control the text.
Yeah.
With the URL, it's just like add a ton of exclusions and make sure you're like, hey, these are the things I want you going. But then you're turning it back to, so hopefully at some point.
A little bit of a cycle.
Yeah.
A little bit of a vicious cycle.
Hopefully at some point, I honestly don't.
I actually have,
I get in
I have
trouble
a
when I talk.
question. Yeah, sorry. You posted about the compounding
Yeah.
effect of like compliance with the new legal laws.
Yep,
And if we're running on AIMax, which is like a who knows,
it's fun.
so we're like a regulatory client, are you advising against or for AIMax right now?
I got to yell at the AI Max PM last week, so that was fun.
But you did the math
Why?
on how much the fine would be.
It was a ton. Well, the AI Max, the math on the fine is based on the New York transparency law, which is a separate problem because regulators don't understand anything. The AI Max issue that we had was we kept finding that it was finding ways to circumvent our instructions. Like we would tell it, don't put prices of procedures in an ad, and it would put a price per month in an ad. I was like, but we said no prices. And they were like, oh, and then it found a way to put in lower than our $9.99 competitors. And we're like, we didn't reference one of your prices. I'm like, no, you put a price in an ad, moron. And the guy was finally like, yeah, the system's designed to find a way to do what it wants to do. I'm like, well, you could just make it listen to what we say. And they're like, no, we're not going to do that.
how I explained it to some of my clients, we have a law firm, they were very set on running it, and I was like, this is not gonna work, because the reason why AI and Max was built is to go outside of what you've created. It's gonna go, hey, you know, we're gonna find new audiences, new people that you might not have touched. These are new ideas, new ad copy, and whatnot. And if we have legal and policy stuff in here, there's only so many exclusions I can put in here, because I'm not gonna think of all the ways that this computer can think of, get around when I'm giving it instructions. And there's just, I'm not a computer, listen. Like, it's just not gonna work. So for them, it's a matter of, I'm like, there's just certain things when they are launched. We're all in tech, and we all work on these platforms. It can't be for every single industry that's out there, like, for launches. And it's okay to go, you know what, it's not, if you test it out, you test it. If it doesn't work, try again in like 6 months or whatever time frame you give it, because it might be ready. But for right now, I'm just like, I'm not, for certain industries, it's just, it hasn't worked, and I'm not as smart with coming up with solutions as the system is. So it's gonna keep finding ways around it. It's gonna go, I'm built to find new people. Why are you giving me a bunch of just random, like, okay.
Well, that goes back to who's liable if something gets shown that's against compliance. Is it on Google's system for serving something that you didn't authorize, or is it on the brand? Or like, all of that.
It's on you.
Yeah,
It's on you.
They sent an email. They sent an email last week saying it's on you. It's literally, there was an email saying
It literally
they
very
updated the
explicitly
terms
was like,
saying
this
it's
is
not
a
on them.
problem.
We received the email from Google.
So I think it's like, is it worth the risk? It's like that's a real question you have to ask yourself as a brand and all the things, like, and I'd say something that pretty much still kind of beta rollout, like, hard out.
The only thing is the new text disclaimers for search ads, I think is gonna potentially be helpful on this, but I don't know, I don't know enough.
Can we guarantee it though?
Well, but I think you can guarantee it, it seems like you actually will legitimately be able to guarantee it in a search ad, but I don't know that you'll be able to guarantee it if you do the audit create, which I'm not 100% sure about.
Yeah, has anyone tested it for Microsoft? Because it's been live-ish. Okay, so we tested it and found that, at least for Microsoft, rather than having it render without the disclaimer, we just saw a big volume drop, because if the disclaimer wasn't sure to show, they just wouldn't show the ad. So that's maybe too far the other way, but it gives me confidence, at least at Microsoft, an assumption that Google will follow. It's rare that it's that way, the other. That they'll be pretty serious about it, because they don't want to get sued by giant companies.
And maybe this is just my CEO was an attorney for the last 5 years, just channeling through me just every day. But like, can you prove it in a courtroom? If you set it up, can you prove it in a courtroom that you have the receipts, that you did all the things, and like, that's the way you have to think, because you are liable in the, especially if you're agency side and like all that stuff. Like, I would say, like, you gotta put your attorney hat on.
Anybody have any other comments in that, like compliance company using AI tool?
I just think for me, financial services, it'll never be, because I have to get everything approved from an
Never gonna
SEC
be
and
elite.
FINRA perspective.
You can
So
still use
if-
PMax, you still use AMX with no tax
Yeah.
customization, there's no chance, there's no way.
Yeah, no shot.
But do you use AMX, use PMax, getting the answer.
Okay, I think we have like maybe about 10 minutes left. That has gone by so quickly. But before we go, going on to our next topic. Well, guys, we know, it's been said several times, DSA is going away. It's going to be deprecated to AI Max. And if you're in the UK and you're near the UK, we're going to have actually full talk about your checklists for what you should do. So yeah, advice on what we should do if DSA, before DSA goes away, what should you be doing now to protect it? No? Yeah? Okay.
I don't want DSA. but that's a personal.
You don't like DSA, okay? Who uses DSA here? I don't know. Yeah, okay, so that will be. Who's worried?
Use cases and use cases are everywhere.
With those who use DSA, who didn't like the news that it's being local AI? Okay, several of us don't like the news. Okay, so
I
yeah.
have a problem with the order that they released it.
Yes.
Okay.
Why did they kill DSA before they gave us AI Max features? Like, just do anything else,
right? Can I steal this?
Tell us good stuff is coming and then kill the whole thing.
It's kind of like when the shopping, it's like they were like, oh, by the way, now you have Performance Max, and I'm like, hold on. Give me a second. So I think if you're going, keep an eye on it, and I think either you need to start transitioning your DSA things into, well, I don't like launching PMax, but AMX by itself, is I would start doing the transitions now, and then you need to add those exclusions. And with transitions, you've got your URL exclusions, your brand exclusions, your own brand, and like anything that you've been running in DSA, like all the exclusions and stuff that you have, you need to have those you have to put those guardrails. It's gonna be a little bit more work than, DSA is, I think, next week. But definitely your guardrails need to be up, or else you're going to get a ton of trash immediately, and you're going to waste a lot of money that it could be, and you're not going to stick with it. So I would just say, start transitioning first.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, I mean, I just think you need to still segment things, and you can use page feeds, you can use contains, all those different things with an AI Max. And if there's one thing that we know, like when Google deprecates, appreciates, however you say that word, like when something like that happens, like typically you see performance drop pretty quick. So I would just say start testing AI Max, make sure it's only on those pages, the page feeds, the contains, whatever you gotta do, use the exclusions, get that data going and give it a rip.
Has anybody seen good results with AI Max?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hands up, who's seen good results with AMX? Like really good. Okay.
It works the best when it's okay if it's wrong.
Okay.
Like if it's semi-generic, if it's where close enough is good, like horseshoes and hand grenades, to use the ultra-American phrase. So we've seen it work really well for marketplaces, like larger scale stores. Clothing, it does okay. Local services, it does okay as long as it's like you provide a breadth of services. If you're like, you just kill bots, then like probably not great. But anything where it's okay if it's close, it does really, really well. It will heavily over-index on competitors. So just get ready for that. It's really annoying. It makes CPCs goes up. It makes everyone else's brand CPCs go up. But it's also not wrong. So you have to tell it that it's wrong.
Please.
The AMX going on there, how do you structure your app groups or even act groups so it works best?
Client dependent?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm like, I think I know the answer. I don't think you're gonna like it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it's really sort of what, I mean, there's no answer that can be right. I would just come talk to us after if you got a specific one. But usually having like champion campaigns on there. I know there's a question about where does PMax fit in. Maggie on our team has a great presentation tomorrow about PMax and shopping. It's very similar to PMax and search. But like adding some of those things additives is good, but really having your like champion campaigns like be the lion's share. Some Geddes maybe or somebody else talked about like the Pareto principle and 80-20 and things like that. But like really you can see a lot of success testing some of the other elements on the campaigns you pay less attention towards, but really focusing like the majority of work on your kind of, cornerstone campaigns.
Also, you can like 50-50, you can test whether or not AI Max works.
Yeah, you can maybe split it.
Yeah, so you can either do a 50-50, or you can just turn it on, which I don't necessarily recommend. So there are ways to test it and to get that data that you need, and I highly recommend you test it. You're gonna get faster results when you just turn it on, but the 50-50 has worked better for me.
It's really,
and also I can get like actual, like, okay, this works and this doesn't work.
yeah, I think it's exactly, like, it's really annoying to report on. I'm sure that will change, but like, you can't really see how AI Max performed unless you like dive into some weird, like cobbled together report, which is a really big pain when you're trying to put together a data report for 40,000 clients. Really hard. But on the DSA front, I think the cautionary tale that I will throw to the wind, which I'm sure you all have gotten the point already, is that there's a reason they're getting rid of DSA and changing it into something AI driven. So the thing that I would recommend you don't do is try to directly one-for-one rebuild your DSA campaign. Remember, we're moving from single little tiny keywords to a broader theme of a person. So when you're thinking about how you want to structure AI Max campaigns, which I really love Susan's point about A/B testing, like launch new ones, split them up, see what actually happens. But AI Max is more thematic and less like, find all the words I didn't pick. It's trying to find new people. The queries don't always look good, but that's because it's a good person that they're retargeting to search. So it's going to be really tough to optimize, but I think just the broader view is like you are looking for a person who's interested in a product. How do we marry those two together? And that's how you can structure your campaigns.
Susan, you're gonna give a talk on AI Max tomorrow. What time? Remind me. Do you know it? 11, it's in the morning, so yes, 11. Can you give like a little bit summary of what your talk is gonna cover, so that like the whole AI Max work?
Yeah, kind of you alluded to it a little bit, is changing your mindset when it comes to AI Max, because I kind of have this belief that match types and keywords are going away a little bit, and it's more of a signal first error. So changing the way you're thinking about your campaign. It's not just like, I mean, even exact match now just doesn't really do what exact match used to do. Phrase match is broad match. So I think the way that we advertise and the way that we find people is going to change. And that is, in my mind, in my opinion anyways, is kind of why AI Max has been built and PMax. So how do you navigate that? How do you set up AI Max for success? Because it's really not going anywhere. So we need to figure out how to route that. So my talk is the best way to structure it, the best way to think about it, and the best way to move forward in a signal first era.
You could cut off if my talk is the best.
Yeah.
And
And I'm not speaking language over here.
That's like my soul sister, I didn't know I had.
I want to come to something you and I were talking about earlier on. And this might be, we might ruffle a
It's
lot
gonna
of
be, I'm gonna
feathers.
make some spicy chili.
I don't like your face.
And I might get hit with a golf club.
You said negatives are probably going to go away.
I think, yes, certainly in the format that we know.
Let's say define negatives.
Yes.
Well, I think that's the challenge. So we're going from 3 to 5 word queries to 8 to 80 word queries. So like the old fashioned of like, I have a naughty negatives list and like a list that excludes all job queries. The likelihood of those words fitting in a sentence or a conversation is going to be problematically high. So negatives are breaking now. They're not broken yet, but I have a sneaking suspicion that if you're pissed off about how much search query data you get now, it's going to get real bad in about 6 months. Because every single one of these conversations occur one time. So in turn, our negative management is going to get a lot harder, and I think negative is going to follow a similar format that other things do. That you're more the same way that you're doing positive thematic targeting, you're going to do negative thematic targeting.
Well, when you're doing discovery, let's just say conversations across channels that have your bias histories behind them as well. Like, we have these so trained up on who we are that the level of, it's funny because I was just rewinding to like, I don't know, 10 years ago and talking about personalization, like literally the level of personalization now is at like just this compounding level of, it's not just the query. It's what were the 80, like you have this amount of kids, you're in this season of life, you did it, all these other things, and oh, by the way, you're also shopping this product on this day for this reason at this time. Oh yeah, this is the thing. Which also doesn't surprise me that Google is still charging for the transactional level search on the paid side, where it's like everything, like it just kind of checks out to me with like where AI overviews show up still to this day versus not. Like there's a math obviously behind that as well. Like, I don't know. It's
Well, yeah,
just-
they're not idiots, I mean, CPC.
I mean, yeah, it's like, oh, we're just charging for the most qualified prospect on the plan, and we're gonna charge top dollar. That's what it is.
We're coming near the end of the session, but,
I got one.
Sorry.
But please go.
My
Passionate
rant,
background.
and rant.
Yeah, one question. So Google is offering like a $20,000 coupon for AI Max.
It's a real coupon? What,
That's
so like a
right.
coupon code for it?
Yeah, credit back to our account,
It-
so.
So it's like a BOGO thing? Like
That's what my-
spend, no, like spend 20 grand, get 20 grand, or is it like a straight, like test it out, have fun?
It was like you have to spend a significant amount over the next few months, and they were vague, so
I don't give you that.
It was like
Credit.
I don't credit you about 20K.
But you guys think it's gonna be worth it? Should I think? I was thinking like 20,000 free money, but then after listening to you talk, I'm like, well, I guess they could just blow through $40,000 too while they're testing it on us, but.
I haven't experienced that as much in AMX, like, I haven't experienced the PMax ways that maybe others have.
What's your industry? What's the brand?
Heavy equipment rental.
100% take it.
Yeah, I think,
There we go.
yeah, I think that's exactly the type of market it can work in.
Yeah.
I take it either way.
I would make sure that it is.
Why do you
You
say
can make it
yes?
work. As long as you have the right conversions, you can make it work. People say PMax doesn't work for lead gen, it does. People say AMX doesn't work for things. People say broad match don't work for things. It works for everything as long as you set it up.
Commercial B2B or consumer or both?
It's both.
Yeah, so I mean, thinking about, I mean, granted, I live in a tiny Ross, it feels like this wouldn't actually happen. But like, if I was doing a large project on my giant yard in my beautiful home, I probably wouldn't know the right words to search. And you, as a company, would know the right words to put out there. I probably wouldn't be in any target market that you would try to reach, but Google would know that. So this is something where, again, horseshoes and hand grenades. I will probably ask, like, Bobcat front loader thing that can pick up rocks.
Yep.
Not literally, but something along those areas, and that's exactly what AI Max is designed to pick up. The challenge instead is where we really hate it, and just dialed before, but like if it makes up a mortgage rate or pulls one out of nowhere, that's a challenge. If it makes up a financing rate for you guys, that's a challenge. If it's just finding new words or new people that wouldn't have used it before, that's kind of exactly what it's for.
Also, turn off text customization,
Yep.
final URL expansion.
Yep.
What is the difference between AI Max and broad match? Same thing.
I have a client that does the same thing, and it works really well. So it's just what we struggled with in the beginning. What we struggled with in the beginning is making sure that the content, like they did a whole entire website revamp just to make sure, like anything that we're pulling in, but don't do that, that's a lot of work and a lot of money, if you don't need to. And then just making sure our conversion trackings were clear, because I know there's like the credit checks, whatever it is that you need to pull from areas, but once we got that figured out, it also takes time for AI Max to work. So in the beginning, there was a little bit of stumble where we had to clean up a little bit of a mess, and it was a little bit uncomfortable, but after that, now it's running really well, and that's pretty much most of our campaigns. And it was worth the data that we got from it to figure out, like, hey, because I don't know anything about those equipment stuff.
Big wacky pinky.
Yeah, it's like something that is a whole.
Sorry.
We'll have
What campaign should I
one.
choose? But we can take it offline, I know you guys.
Yeah, one last question.
Super tactical. Branded search campaign, manual CPC, or automated bid strategy?
Depends.
Yeah.
It depends.
Do you look at what, do you have
Any
like,
industry.
e-commerce?
That too.
I would.
Okay.
How's your
I need to take that
competition?
one offline because we are, sorry
I
guys.
would two-word answer, mostly manual.
Mostly
And
manual.
I'd say if
Amen.
you have limited budget, target.
I say mostly manual because all these automated ad formats are creating extra competitors on your terms, whether it's on purpose or not, and they're non-brand campaigns, so they're bidding a lot. So if you have an automated, especially target impression share, and these guys show up out of nowhere because they flipped on AI Max because someone told them to, your brand CPCs are going to double overnight.
That's right.
I feel like we should just like, that's like a mic drop moment, just close that right there.
And on that note, please give our panelists a absolutely. And like all of the other sessions, you can rate this, this is like a PPC live session, so yeah, go into like the agenda list, and yeah, the explore button, and rate the session, and yeah, we really love your feedback, so that I'm encouraged to come back when we come do this again next year, but I don't know, thank you guys, and see you tomorrow.
Yeah.